Hi everybody, welcome to another video from Homeless Dan. I am here at the Olive Branch with a wonderful lady called Barbara.
Hello.
Now, basically, yeah, so I'm gonna pass you on to Barbara, and Barbara's just going to explain, how the organisation got started, what services, the Olive Branch offer, and how where the Olive Branch is wanting to to go in terms of continuing to to help people out in the future. So yeah, I'll pass you over to Barbara, and yeah, just don't forget to watch the video.
Oh, Jimmy, this is completely unexpected. The vision from the Olive Branch really came from my experience of volunteering at the Homeless Action Service in Lancaster. It was based in Edward Street at that time, and that must have been more than 20 years ago. And I used to volunteer just serving up, helping with the breakfast, serving up teas at the counter. And there I got to meet a lot of people who were homeless, also who had addiction issues, and I got to hear their stories, and I just knew that there was more that could be done. There's a lot of practical help offered. We have the drug and alcohol services in Lancaster. We have the homeless action service in Lancaster. There's a lot of practical help needed, but I was seeing people coming back into the same situation over and over again. And many of the people who visited Edward Street regularly had been homeless or in street homeless, poverty, housing poverty, had addiction issues from from teenage years. And I was a new Christian at that time, and I knew there was more that could be done. And I knew it was more than just the practical help that was needed. It was something to do with the emotional and spiritual support that people needed. People needed to know they were valued, and they needed to know that they were loved, and they needed to know that there was a better life there available for them. And I had a couple of key conversations with people who were regular visitors to Edward Street, who had been homeless at some times, who had addiction issues, and they were really struggling with these. And this one man, I still remember vividly the conversation I had with him 20 odd years ago. He came in and I was just pouring tea out for him, and he just suddenly said, I know that you have faith. What is this thing that you have? Why do you believe? Why you're the way you are? I thought, goodness, I'd never ever had a conversation like that with John before. And he spoke about, he knew that this day was his window of opportunity. He wanted to know, and he wanted to know that there was hope. He spoke about his life, sitting in a doorstep in the centre of Lancaster, and how people just passed him and just ignored him, and how that made him feel as if he was like dirt under their feet. That's the exact words he used, and I can still remember that. And I can remember him asking about my faith. Why do you believe? Why do you, where does this come? And I just thought, there needs to be more. For people like John, there needs to be more. He told me that every day he struggled and he diced with death because he took a whole cocktail of drugs. I thought, it's people can't be continuing in this way. And I was also seeing people, I would help to serve a breakfast one week, and the next week I would come in and for somebody to say that, oh, so and so had died of an overdose. And that happened quite often then, because heroin seemed to be the drug of choice at that time. and it seemed to be quite common for people to have overdoses and not be there the next week. And I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want people to die without knowing that there was hope for them, not knowing that they were loved and cared for. So as a new Christian, I just began praying. I used to meet with somebody else to pray regularly. And then one week I just thought, well, maybe if something has to be done, somebody has to do something about it. And it just seemed to me that maybe I needed to step out. I needed to take a step. I couldn't just sit and not do anything about it. It was completely unknown for me because I'm not a natural volunteer. I'm not a person who does things. I'm not an activist or anything like that. But I care deeply for the people that I met. They were real people to me. Although I'd never experienced homelessness myself personally or within my family or drug addiction. I didn't really know of anybody who had been in that situation until I went to Edward Street. But I got to know the people, and I knew that God loved them. And I knew God had sent me to that place because He had a purpose and a vision for those people who came. He didn't want them to die without hope either. He wanted them to know that they were loved and cared for and that there was more for them available than just practical help. So that day, the vision of the Olive Branch came into being, and it wasn't as a food bank. It was literally just to provide a place where people could come. We would have a shared meal. We'd sit around a table together, just as Jesus did when He walked the earth. He would sit down with people and He would share conversation. He would share a meal with them. He welcomed everybody. Nobody was rejected. Nobody was overlooked. Nobody was judged. Nobody was condemned. He welcomed the people that I was seeing at Edward Street. He welcomed those people. And so we began, we were given a space behind a local church. It was then the Free Methodist Church in Lancaster. It's now Hope Church. So we met one evening a week, a Monday evening. I think we opened in 2004, in November. And everybody was welcome. The people I wanted to come were the people I met at Edward Street. So we had people who were homeless. We had people who had alcohol and drug issues. We had people who were lonely, who just came along for the meal. But we always began the meal with just a short message, something about Jesus, something about His life, the miracles that He'd done, the way He had treated people. Sometimes it was a little bit about our experience of Jesus. It was just 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes, before we sat down together. And the whole idea was that we would sit down together. There wouldn't be a separation between the servers and the guests, if you like. And sometimes we prayed for people, sometimes we had conversations with people, and we realised that more was needed, more than one night a week to serve a meal. So we became a charity so that we could raise funds to support the work that we wanted to do. And we literally wanted to have a place in the community where people could come, just come and have a brew, have a chat, share their lives, come for prayer, come to be encouraged. But we found that a lot of people who came were also hungry. They were in need of food. They were in need of lots of other things as well. So we began by giving out what we had, which was literally just a tin of beans and a bag of pasta. And that grew into a referral food bank service that we have today. But always at the heart of it was the idea that people could just come, that they would be welcome, they would sit down, they would be listened to, they wouldn't be turned away. The only time you would ever have to turn somebody away and ask them to come back later is if they were absolutely inebriated, But even so, they could still come in and have a space. And what always struck me is many people who came in those early days, sometimes they just wanted a place of peace. You know, they spoke about the turmoil they had on the streets and in the outside world, but when they came into the Olive Branch, they found a peace, and they also knew that they would be accepted, you know, no matter how they looked on the outside, no matter what their appearance was like. And we did have many people who were literally living and sleeping on the streets at that time who came. And I think it was important that people had that place that they could come and find peace. And I often find in those early days as well that people sometimes came quite agitated. They didn't know where to turn to, they didn't know where to go to, they didn't have any family support or friends around them. But they knew they could come. And sometimes they came with great fearfulness, because they didn't know how they would be welcomed or accepted. And they came in, and during the conversation and the listening time, you slowly saw them begin to relax, and the whole body language changed. They straightened up, they held their heads high, and they left the Olive Branch often commenting how they felt better, and we hadn't done anything more than listen and provide them with a brew. And that's still, for me, the heart of it. I want to see people coming and having an experience of what it is like to be accepted and to be listened to. It's the one thing that people lack nowadays, I think, is a place that they can go to and somebody will just spend time and let them talk about their experiences and their lives. So for me, the food bank service and providing a sleeping bag, providing a tent, is just a means. I don't want to say draw people in, but to be able to tell people about Jesus. You know, that Jesus does care and Jesus does love. And this is why I get up in the morning. This is why I come into the Olive Branch twice a week. This is why I still volunteer here, because I know that Jesus wants people to know his love. I know that Jesus made a difference in my life when I was in the absolute pit of despair, when I couldn't see any hope ahead of me, when there was a moment when I even contemplated that it might have been easy just to let my life go. I knew that wasn't the way for me. I rejected that idea. I did want to live, I didn't want to die, but I didn't want to live the life I was living. And then I can't explain to somebody how Jesus makes a difference. But when I realized that I needed him and that he could help me, the way I thought and felt about myself, about the world around me, completely changed. I was a woman full of shame. I was a woman full of despair. I couldn't see hope, even though I had everything that on the outside people would see as good things. It didn't mean anything to me, because here inside me I felt somebody of no worth. There was at that time, I can remember, I couldn't look at my face in the mirror because I thought everything was there on my face. I couldn't look people in the eye because I thought they could see who I was. And it was a lie I was believing. I wasn't that person at all. And knowing Jesus turned around how I felt about myself. I was given a new sense of purpose, a new sense of being loved and cared for. And it was that I wanted to share with people. It was that I wanted to share through the Olive Branch. That lives could be changed. You know, you might have the same circumstances, but how you looked at it would be radically different once you knew that you were loved and that the one who created the heavens and the earth actually cares for you as an individual. I don't know what more I can say. I can pour out my heart to you. But I want to pour out my heart for the people who come here. My heart is still for that same group of people, but God's so gracious. Once we began, He opened a wider door, and for the last maybe 4 years, ever since the Lancaster became the city of refuge, we have also provided a place for asylum seekers to come. And we see people from all over the world, all over the earth, from many, many different countries. And we hear their stories and see what their circumstances are. So God opens the door and God provides a way for people to lift themselves higher. I don't know what else to say. I think I've probably said far too much. But I just want you to know that He loves you and He cares for you, and this is why the Olive Branch exists. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm, certainly lost for words, and I know that everything that Barbara just said there, is speaking. Barbara is speaking from the heart, and I hope that Barbara has, inspired you, to, just to take some time out and just to think about, the world around us, people around us, and that we just need to maybe take a bit of time out, to maybe reflect on ourselves and to listen just to other individuals, or maybe you're somebody yourself, that needs to talk to somebody. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, to go seek the help if you do need the help, because I know I've certainly needed a lot of help, myself. And I don't even know what to. I don't even know what to put of a title of this as this video, because what would be the right way to put out to people what everything that Barbara has just said. And like Barbara said, it was totally spur of the moment, which is again as I know, Barbara is speaking from the heart, and yeah, God is definitely alive within Barbara, and I know I had to hit my lowest before I found my faith. I've recently, over the last about 7 weeks, I've been going to different churches, different areas. I've moved around. I've recently found a place where I can go and feel welcome, which is St. Thomas, which is just next to across from the police station. It's coming into the Olive Branch. I'm always, as Barbara mentioned, I'm always welcomed with a brew, some cake, some lovely people like Leslie and Barry. So yeah, if you do need to, it's not just like as Barbara said, it's not just a place to come in and it's not just a food bank service. It's a place where people can come in and and talk. Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Barbara, for.
Sorry, I did ramble.
I don't know. You didn't ramble. You spoke from
very quite emotional.
As you was speaking, you touched. It's definitely. I'm gonna take a piece of Barbara away with me today, and I'm gonna try and do my best to continue to try and help people people further. No, thank you, Barbara. Thank you. Can
I just add? I'm sorry that was a bit of a ramble. I did feel very emotional because the vision comes from the heart passion for people. I've forgotten what I was going to say there, but we do, the whole purpose as well is we try to meet people in their place of need. So we don't have any sort of set thing. We don't try to put people in boxes. If somebody comes with a particular need, we'll try to meet that need, no matter what it is. This is the whole point. People are individuals. People are unique, and what benefits one person might be another person's help, or give them an advantage or a benefit. So that's why it's important to listen, and I think that's the greatest gift that we can give people, just to listen sometimes. And from the listening and from the conversation, you get to know people's other needs, and so we can offer other help or information or signpost them to another more specialist organisation. I suppose we are like a general umbrella, if you like. So we try to meet people in their place of need and try to direct them if they do need another more specialist or professional help. Sometimes people don't know where to go to, so we can give them that information about local services, local charities as well. And we're always collecting information about other services within the community and other charities that supply sort of like niche help for people. But I've seen the fantastic way that the charity has grown over the years. We have a fantastic team of people who all come from different churches. We don't represent one single church. We're just followers of Jesus. So thank you.
Just before we go, would you kindly like to say a prayer?
Yes.
I'm going to come and sit next to you, Barbara. I'm second of the whole and get.
Is it all right if I just place my hand down?
That's perfectly fine.
I thank you for this day, Lord. I thank you for bringing Daniel to this place. I thank you for his heart, and I thank you for the purpose and vision that you have for his life. I thank you that you've put a passion inside him, Lord, to reach out and to make connections, Lord, to make connections which will help other people. I just ask that you bless Daniel, Lord, that you protect him, that you guide his steps, Lord. I pray that your angels will just be around Daniel, Lord, to protect him at all times, that every time he wakes up, Lord, he will just feel your presence and your inspiration leading him forth. And ask that, Lord, that you bless the work of his hands, Lord. Bless the work of his hands. And all of these ideas that you are giving him, Lord, I pray that you will help him to develop them, Lord, so that they become really fruitful and impactful, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Barbara.
Bless you, Daniel. Bless you.
Yeah, I hope this video reaches as many people as possible, because everything that Barbara said needs to be heard, and just if we can all just even just give just a tiny bit of time out of our you know, I know a lot of people have, you know, a lot of busy lives, and there's a lot of, you know, things going on, not just in Lancaster, but all, you know, all around the country, all around the world. Then, you know, we can, you know, make the future for, you know, the next generations, you know, that bit more, more bearable. So once again, I'm Homeless Dan.
And I'm Barbara, and we can make a difference, even if it's just to one at a time. That's all we have to do. So keep fighting, keep fighting.
I could not have said anything better myself. Peace.
Yes.